Hey, everybody, this is Matthew Soltesiak, and you're listening to Not the Same Old Lions podcast. Welcome to another episode. Today, we're going to discuss the Pro Bowl, the Senior Bowl, and coaching changes. I'm joined by Coach Jerry Angers, named Michigan High School Coach of the Year, as well as Coach of the Week by the Detroit Lions. He's also mentored numerous players at the college level, some all the way to the NFL. He's joining us today all the way from Alabama. Good to have you here, Coach.
Hey, great to be here.
Coach, let's start talking briefly about the Pro Bowl editions. Of course, Frank Ragnow was already made the Pro Bowl through the fan vote in the traditional way, but now 3 Detroit Lions have been named Pro Bowl alternates. We have Penei Sewell, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Jared Goff. We'd like to get your thoughts on those 3 players being named alternates.
Well, I think that's great. I mean, again, they didn't get voted in from that, but it's, people are looking at them and saying, man, these guys are producing and playing at the highest level in the NFL, and I think it's just a feather in the cap for Dan Campbell and his staff that, he's getting these guys ready to, go on and do these Pro Bowls, even though, playing in the playoffs and the Super Bowl is a lot more than the Pro Bowl, but it still lets us know that we are going in the right direction, and soon there'll be more than just 3 or 4 of them.
Sewell and St. Brown, I think there was no question that they probably should have been in to begin with. And then, the Jared Goff thing, I actually liked seeing this edition, and I thought his stats backed it up pretty well. He was 4th in QBR in the NFC with a 99.3, which actually put him ahead of Cousins, Rodgers, Prescott, Stafford, Brady, Murray, Fields, Wentz. He's ahead of a lot of guys statistically, and I know stats don't tell the whole story, but I thought they told a lot of the story for Jared Goff this year. And if you think back, Matthew Stafford made it as an alternate back in 2014. He was the last Detroit Lions quarterback to make it.
Yeah, we haven't had a whole lot of luck with great quarterbacks in the system over the years. We could go on and on about that, but I think that's one of the biggest things. You look at his stats, you look at the numbers, look at his last 10 games. Look at what he did at the end of last season. After the offensive coaching change, I mean, the guy, he doesn't make mistakes, and he makes big plays, and I think he deserves it. Granted, we weren't in the playoffs, we were 9-8, but I still believe they're looking at it going, this guy's a lot better than people have given him credit for, and you and I have talked about it, and I was happy that they're going to stay with him. I just think he's the one that can lead us to the Super Bowl.
I couldn't agree more with all those thoughts. And like I said before, I was a slow believer, but then you look at his stats and they tell a story, and I'm not making this up. Before the season started, I mentioned to a couple people, I said, I think there's a chance that Matthew Stafford's stats and Jared Goff's stats might be a little different than last year. I thought maybe Goff could outperform him, and people didn't quite believe me. They wanted to make some bets. I wasn't willing to go that far, but I thought there was a chance. Obviously, Stafford has some injuries, but Goff proved that he is more than just a bridge quarterback. Now, what his full future holds in Detroit, we'll see how that goes. But moving on from the Pro Bowl over to the Senior Bowl, right? You're down there. I would like to know, how important is something like this for these seniors, these players, and what are scouts looking for in an event like this?
Well, the big thing, this is it. This is their last play. This is where the draft starts. That's the motto down here. It's the last time of them playing in a game, then everything else is going to be testing. It's an opportunity for these coaches to see these guys in person, whether they're standing next to them on the field, they're interviewing them at the hotels, they're interviewing them on the field, seeing them firsthand, what they do during drill work, and how well they carry themselves in between plays as well as in between drills. And it's big time. I talked to at least a half a dozen different staffs from what they're looking for. And it's pretty neat to talk to them and hear them. And I'm sitting behind a couple. I was actually sitting behind the Chicago Bears and the Lions staff most of today and yesterday. And when a play is made, they're writing it down on their notebook. So it was pretty neat. And then I spent some time down on the field today with standing with scouts and just kind of listening to what they're saying and who they're looking at. And it's big time. I think this is the one that can kind of put them over, over the edge or over into that, when are they going to draft them? And then, of course, once they put their measurables together, with what they saw in person, they can fight. The scouts can fight and push to, get it to the GMs and them to make decisions whether to draft those guys or not.
A couple parts to this. One, they're looking for what they see on the field, but then they're also speaking to all these players, so they're finding intangibles there. And then is this almost like a pre-combine in a way? Because not all these players will get invited to the combine. Is that correct?
Oh, that's correct. And yeah, it is a pre-combine. And I think that's what most of the guys that I talked to, they said that, this is an opportunity for us to see them with pads on, making contact, with pads on, doing a drill, understanding a concept, an offense, defense, especially concept that's thrown at them in 3 days, and how well can they establish it and how well they can memorize and stuff to get ready to, carry on the game plan for Saturday. One of the D linemen played 3 different positions in college, and I'm watching them. They're looking at him at inside here, but I think they're going to move him outside too. And it goes for some of the offensive linemen. Can they play both left tackle and right tackle? Ryan Hayes from Traverse City West, they have him playing left tackle and right tackle. And I was talking to his dad today. He said he hasn't played that side for a while, but the key is he's picking it up and he's getting better day after day after day, which is going to go into the draft board and say, we could use him at left tackle or right tackle. So it's pretty neat to watch that. And it's neat for them to be able to watch those guys and perform and give them an opportunity to say, hey, I can play any position and I can pick up any scheme that you want me to.
Awesome. Now, I know there's some Detroit Lions personnel down there. I believe Sean Dion Hamilton actually might be helping some of the coaching. Have you come across any Lions personnel? Have you had any idea or insight what they might be doing or looking at?
Yeah, like I said, I was sitting between them and Chicago. And I mean, I talked to the Giants D coordinator today, Wink Martindale, and they all have their guys that they're looking at. And, some of the programs, the Lions guys are, I just talked to them briefly, what are you guys looking at down here? And, and some of them said, hey, we're looking at our zone, that we recruit. The scouts are dealing with the guys that they've talked to on the college level, the guys that they've gone and watched practice, and they're watching to see how they perform, against the elites, against, the Senior Bowl guys. And so I think that's one of the really cool things. Some of the other ones are looking at positions. I think the Bears, talking to a bunch of them, some are looking at a position. We need quarterbacks. We need, none of them really established what they need. Most of them established that they have certain bodies and certain people they're looking at, whether it's a regional thing or a position thing. So that was really neat to learn. And I talked to one of the girls actually for 2 days who was a scout for the Buffalo Bills, and it was pretty cool. She's her responsibility was strictly wide receivers, and and it's her thing she kept saying was, I don't think he's going to be a Jerry Rice. So it was really neat to take all of this in, and great trip, and I'm so glad I made it.
Awesome, Coach. Hey, are there any final takeaways, any last things to maybe leave the listeners to just let them know little nuggets of info as we turn away from this topic?
Well, I think it's if you get an opportunity to watch it tomorrow. I know the NFL channel and those people are carrying it, and of course watch the game on Saturday, and put a roster together. Take the rosters and check off the people when you look at. I know the Lions have said that they need a cornerback, so kind of look at the cornerbacks. Because there's some pretty good ones here. The kid from Iowa, he can play. The kids from State have done a great job. The kicker and Reed and Bell's kind of showing out. So it's especially for us Michigan people. Look at the Michigan guys. Ian Coons here from Central Michigan. Carl Brooks from Bowling Green is a Lansing kid. Of course, Ryan Hayes. It's pretty neat. Those guys I've kind of known over the years and know some of them, and to actually see them playing and seeing that they're about to live out their dream of playing in the NFL is pretty neat to watch.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach. Let's move to our final topic now, and that's looking at the Lions coaching staff. They avoided the big loss of Ben Johnson initially. Everybody was fearing he was going to get a head coach job. He's staying around. They've added tight ends coach Steve Hayden from Arizona, I believe, and the defensive backs coach, the new one, is going to be Dre Bly, former Detroit Lions defensive back. He most recently spent the last 4 years at the University of North Carolina in a similar position. So those are the additions. They have lost an assistant head coach and running backs coach, though, Deuce Staley. He's moving to Carolina with Frank Reich's staff, and that move has been said so he can move closer to home. And so we've lost him. And then there's a chance Aaron Glenn now is looking at a second interview. Things are not finalized there yet. So can you speak to maybe the additions and then the Deuce Staley position?
Well, I think that, losing a Deuce Staley is huge. I mean, we saw it Hard Knocks, and we saw what he did with our running backs. I mean, look at Williams this year. And I think that, that one's going to hurt. But again, family is important. And for him to go home and be with us, I think his mom's sick and that be in that area, that just shows what the Lion organization is all about. It's a family concept, and they care about, each other, and they care about helping each other. And I think, anybody that we add in there, they're gonna be just fine. And again, it's always tough losing them. Aaron Glenn will be, another big hit for us. And again, we haven't lost him, so let's keep praying that he stays. And I think Dre Bly, I love Dan Campbell's staff. It's guys that have played in the league. It's guys that have gone through different things in the league. And you got Dre Bly, who was part of the Lions organization before it became what they are now. Exactly what the name of your podcast is. And so I think those are all going to be positives. And I think, no matter who comes into the staff or who leaves the staff, the ones that leave are going to be successful where they left, and the ones that come in are probably going to leave also, because that's always a good sign when people from your staff are moving on to other organizations. That means you're doing the right thing within your staff.
I mean, when's the last time we could hear or we have heard that somebody is interviewing a Lions coordinator for a job, like for a head coaching job?
Right. Yeah. And that's, you're totally right on that. And and again, that we go back to that. That's telling you what we are doing. We are opening eyes, whether it's on the field or whether it's in the coaching box. And I think it's going to continue. And that's why we know they are definitely trending up, and just great to be a Lions fan right now.
For sure. Yes. Very excited that other people are interested in our coaches. Would love to be able to keep Glenn for one more year, run it back with both coordinators and the head coach. We'll have to take a look and keep our eyes open and listen and see what's going on with that. Coach, thanks for making the time. Great speaking with you.
Yeah, good talking to you too, Matt. We'll talk soon. Have a great day.
Thanks. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please subscribe to the podcast to get alerts about new episodes. And until next time, stay gritty, my friends.